So I would say I'm pretty good at being across new and upcoming games for the kind of farming cozy genre. So when I was very kindly contacted and offered a review code for CROVE, I was pretty surprised that I hadn't heard of it before. And it's also really not that often anymore that I am genuinely surprised by video games, especially ones that are in early access. So imagine a game like Animal Crossing and then sprinkle in bits of the crafting from my time at Porsche, and then add the exploration style from Subnautica, and you have CROVE. Within seconds, I was impressed with what this game had to offer, and that initially came in the form of the character creation. Character customization is just so detailed here. You can basically mix and match different body parts from like humans, animals, and fictional beings to create an entirely new being. So you could have like a frog head, a bird body, claws, dragon wings, whatever. I myself chose to be a bit of a hybrid human with some frog eyes, scales on my back, and some cool tattoos. I was just really happy with the level of customization, and not just being like an animal or a human, but the mixing and matching between all of these body parts. You can really create something unique here that works just for you. As for these kind of games where everyone else is an animal, I always kind of hated being the only human, so it is just really nice to have that option to be whatever you want to be. After you create your character, you arrive to Critter Cove on a boat manned by an incredibly cute shark captain. And then the boat explodes and sinks deep beneath the ocean. If you query it, apparently you were attacked by vicious sea creatures and a whole big thing went down, and it's just super weird that you don't remember. Like, who could forget something like that? But putting that aside, you'll need to make your way over to the center of town to start your new job, which is basically fixing the town. Like, that's your literal job. You've kind of accepted an advertisement where you agree to be a jack of all trades for this island, cleaning it up, repairing buildings, decorating, bringing in people, and in return, you get a free house. So you'll meet up with Renard, the rat who placed the ad, and your first job is to actually pick out your home. There's a bunch of abandoned houses throughout the town, and you can just literally pick anyone you want, which I thought was pretty cool. So you can choose to be near the center of town, or you could be in amongst the other houses, or somewhere on the outskirts. So I grabbed a nice kind of isolated house with a sick ocean view, which ended up also being right near the crafting shed, so that kind of worked out. You will need to grab a few items to repair it, and then once that's done, your real job can start, which is repairing the entire town. Copperbottom is this hilarious character that you'll meet next, as he's gone and gotten himself rusted from touching water. I actually found him earlier than I was meant to as I was collecting the materials to fix up my house, and I just found it so funny. So when my next quest came up to find the rusted up robot, I knew exactly where to look. He's a funny fella who refers to you as a meat bag and gives out some really weird comments. He is absolutely my favorite character in this game. So he gives you your first recipe for a tool, which is an absolute godsend, as you'll just be exploring this town, passing like trash piles and planks and all these kind of things that will tell you that in order to clean it up, you'll need a wrench or a shovel or an axe. So when you finally start getting your hands on these tools, you can go absolutely AWOL and begin cleaning up the town. And this is totally one of my favorite things to do in games like this, just having an area that's rough and kind of full of junk, and then me being able to clean it up and transform it. So it's safe to say I got really sidetracked at this point. Aside from Copperbottom and the rat, you'll also get 2 other residents that come to the island around the time you did. Now, don't throw things at me, but unlike Animal Crossing, these guys have some solid personalities. Don't get me wrong, I love that game, and I'm currently addicted to it again, and I'm playing it every day at the moment, but I just don't find personalities are really distinct in Animal Crossing, at least not for me. But in Critter Cove, they've kind of really nailed that part. During my first day, one of these guys was bugging me like every 5 minutes, asking me to make them snacks and friendship bracelets and being super clingy. And then I had the other one who told me where to find a grotty old bottle because they thought I was also gross and would like it. Like, it doesn't get much better than that. So for your first few days, you'll work with Copper Bottom to get the workshop back up and running, which involves creating several different machines, which will require you to kind of explore the island a bit to find some blueprints and some resources. And during this time, you'll also have your 2 new neighbors there to ask you a few favors. So all in all, you're kept really busy during the start of this game, which I love. After the workshop is somewhat usable again, your Tom Nook equivalent here lets you know that he's invited a tourism representative to bring in visitors and revenue back to the island. So Checkmark the Beaver is now your new go-to for fixing up the town. While this is all happening, Anchor, your friendly shark pal, offers to make you a boat. Yes, that's right. You get to travel to all of those distant islands you see across the map. And it doesn't stop there either. There's underwater cities, caves, and an ocean all below it to explore with wrecks, cargo containers, and more. So I just had a whole bunch of fun taking my little bath boat out and discovering all of these islands and wrecks. The islands are scattered with so many resources to collect, old furniture to break down, and some pretty interesting buildings. And below in the ocean, you have those huge cities with buildings to explore, containers with goodies, sunken ships, and more. So lots and lots of areas to explore. I kind of got like Subnautica vibes here in a way, as when you find old broken furniture and other items, if you break it down enough times, you actually learn the recipe. So as you explore islands and find furniture that you'd love to have back in your own town, it makes it really kind of fun to explore and come across these items and kind of find enough of them so that you can get that blueprint and make it for yourself. So it really makes any trip out worthwhile. There's also people to be found on these islands, whether they're totally whacked out on drugs and are talking to a statue, or just stranded and in need of assistance. And if you do them a favor, they can be convinced to come back and live on your island. So similar to Animal Crossing, the residents that you get on these islands are luck of the draw. So you do begin with your 2 standard townies, so Pokey and Sammy, but then as you progress and you begin exploring, the people who appear on the islands are random and you can choose whether or not you like them and you want them to come back with you to your island. Now, I do want to say here, while at the start, I did find the personalities of Pokey and Sammy to be amazing and they're just so different from each other and have such strong personalities. You will notice that kind of pattern where you only have X amount of personalities. So I ended up getting a few other townies that were similar to Pokey and were just calling me trash and being really mean to me. And then I had some other townies more similar to Sammy where they were just really clingy. So that does begin to show itself more so in the game. But I do think with the personalities that they have here, they're much more distinct and I guess stronger personalities than I found in Animal Crossing. So at this point in the game, you can explore various islands, craft in your new workshop, work with the beaver to begin refurbishing the empty shops, and assist everyone with whatever it is that they need assisting with. Crafting items in CROVE works really similar to the My Time at Portia games, where you'll have various crafting machines that are capable of making certain items. And often you'll need to craft an item, to craft another item, to use in a recipe, and blah blah blah. It can get pretty convoluted, but I found the majority of the resources are pretty easy to find. Storms do come in regularly and they actually restore all resources, both in the ocean and on the outer islands. So if you've gone to an island before and you know where an item is, you can always go back there after a storm and find the same item. So it's pretty easy in that way. With the help of the beaver, you will actually fix the lighthouse for the island, which will, believe it or not, bring in a cruise ship full of tourists every few days. At first, they are seriously not impressed, which I thought was kind of a bummer because up until this point, I had been working my butt off to fix this island, and everyone just kind of shits on it. But as you progress here and you buy shop blueprints from Checkmark the Beaver, you can restore these shops. These can require some pretty tough to get resources and often need a unique item that can be found somewhere within the islands. But once you get these shops open, they will bring in revenue for you when the cruise ship comes in. Some stores also provide goods for you to purchase, such as the clothing store and furniture store. Now for these stores, you do need to allocate one of your townies to be the staff member here. And while I thought this was really cool at first, I kind of noticed that it takes that person away and has them work in the store every single day, even when the cruise ship isn't there. So I do recommend, if you play this game, maybe use your less liked townies to staff these shops so that you can still have your favorite people walking around all day and doing their thing. So again, like before, as I was saying, you will start working pretty hard to restore these buildings and bringing people back, and this will require a lot of resources. And this is especially where it began to feel like my time at Portia, because at the start of the game, you'll kind of be cleaning up the town and collecting all sorts of exciting things, so you never really have to go out for resources. But as the buildings get more advanced and more people move in, you end up needing so much stuff and it gets quite grindy. And just at that moment in the game where I was thinking, gee, it would be really great to have some sort of resource collecting system brought in for me so I wouldn't have to do so much work. And, well, there wasn't. As this is an early access game, I'm not really sure what the developers have planned for the future, but I'm really hoping they bring that in some point. Generally, games like this do bring in like a collection system where, I don't know, you pay X amount of money and you'll get given like so many resources every day. I don't know, just something to kind of make that resource collection a little bit easier on you. But unfortunately, this game doesn't seem to have that yet. Making friends in CROVE is pretty easy, which is a nice mix-up from some other games where it can be a real grind to make friends and then you don't even end up making that much progress. Simply giving them items when they ask for them and answering any ads they place on the bulletin board in town will work up to a friendship pretty quickly. When you begin to really increase your friendship, they'll request a friendship bracelet, which is this really cute tracking device that helps you find them wherever they are. And I'm not even joking here. There was an interaction with a townie I had where he mentioned there was a GPS tracking device in the bracelet. Creepy, right? But at least they're aware of it, so I think it makes it legal. Since the island is a pretty large place though, and there's just a billion streets and alleys for you to like run through and stuff, it does make it so much easier when you're trying to find someone to give them an item, and then you can just open the map and see right where they are. I'm not quite sure how many residents you can actually get to move in on your island in total. I think I got up to maybe 8, and it seems like there are still a lot of empty houses. These guys are pretty active in the town too. They go for morning runs, you can actually see them collecting resources or maybe sitting down and relaxing, so it gives the island a pretty kind of lived-in organic vibe. As you progress, you'll naturally begin unlocking a whole bunch of blueprints just because as you explore and you come across items and break them down, you'll just get the blueprint for it. So this includes like planters for crops, benches, lights, decorations, and way more. So while I didn't get too invested in the decorating my town kind of aspect of this game, I know a lot of people really like that aspect, and yeah, you can definitely do this here. As it is an early access game, there are some parts that you can't yet play. I did notice some islands on the outer edge of the map that I went to explore, and the game basically picked me up and turned me around and told me that wasn't ready yet. But I'm really excited to be able to eventually go there, as these islands look amazing. I can see like a giant swampy kind of mushroom and waterfalls in the distance, so they look really interesting. For an early access game though, while it does feel a little bit rough in some areas, it's actually a great game in its current form and doesn't necessarily have that early access feel that most of these games tend to have. And I do definitely prefer early access games to be kind of a full game and maybe be cut short a little towards the end like this one is, rather than playing a game that has bits and bobs missing throughout. And I'm sure they're still refining a lot of these parts as well, so I'm actually really interested to see how this one turns out. I feel like this one could be a big one. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!